Welcome back to the Gen Z Speaks podcast. Today we are here with, introduce yourself.
I'm a millennial.
A millennial?
Yeah.
Oh
You
man,
guys found one.
out of here, out of here.
No, my name's Armand Gorjian. I'm a stand-up comic in LA.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah.
Before we start, wait, congrats on the new space, by the way.
Thank
Yeah,
you,
this
thank
is
you.
New
great.
warehouse. You tripled the size of the first warehouse
Yeah, inventory wise,
in 10
Yeah.
months.
9 months.
9 months.
9 months.
There you go, man.
Yep.
How'd you do it? For somebody who's like wanting to start a new business, right? You grew it from
Yeah.
basically nothing, and
Yeah.
now you have like 3 times the size of space.
Yeah, man. It just happens after you just kind of commit, and it all boils down to I think how you deal with your financials.
Mm.
And how you deal with your personally I deal with liquidation, right? So we do pallet liquidation, wholesale Home Depot. And so obviously you have a front cost and you have all your included costs, and I think as long as you know where you're at in the month, that's like the real kicker, at least for me. Knowing where you're at and then how to push for more, how to push for sales, right? So learning how to sell at the given point of your cost accretion is.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah. So I think that's what really kicked it for me. And then this business, it's really an inventory business. So if you don't have inventory, you are losing.
Right.
Yeah. So, I mean, I have an excess of inventory right now, or well, comparably to at my last warehouse. Right now, it's fairly empty because it went from 1,000 to double.
Sure.
But yeah, I think if you're into liquidation and it's definitely a moneymaker. Just make sure you have the space and don't get locked in. Don't get locked into a long lease. I was at 1,000 square feet over there, and I got lucky because I didn't know anything about the warehousing game 9 months ago, and so what I got lucky with is the landlord was able to give me a 1-year lease.
Nice.
Yeah,
That's key.
exactly. That hooked me up, and then he was cool enough to even let me do 2 months rent and pay me at the end, and I got this opportunity. And I realized I just got to run with it.
Wait, so you guys probably talked about this in previous podcasts. So
Yeah.
the nature of the business is there's people liquidating their inventory.
Yes.
You scoop it up for like a lower price.
Yes.
And then you resell
Sell
it online. Like it's kind of like I kind of get the game. It's like they don't want to spend the resources to find buyers.
Right.
You're like, hey, look, I think I could do better selling this product than you can.
Yes.
They give it to you at a discounted price.
Yeah.
And then you bring it back to market and sell it. And so that's been kind of, you started small.
Exactly.
And grew it.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
So I mean, you don't know, but I started out in my dad's garage like 2 years ago.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah, and then about last September, I got that opportunity, ran with it. But yeah, I do wholesale, so
Yeah.
technically, I just sell by the pallet or by the bulk.
There we go. That's
Yeah.
that's the key, that's the thing I missed.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's not like I'm selling unit by unit. You're selling
Exactly.
by the pallet.
Exactly.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
He has a cool company name, Pallet Dudes.
Pallet dudes.
That's dope.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's
Pallet dude.
dope.
It's a cool
That's
name.
one, you know what, and kind of to bring it back to the kind of like the, what I understand the podcast to be. It's like that's what I like about the generation that's coming up compared to our generation. I think our generation was looking for kind of the older cats to be like, oh, here's how you do things.
Mm.
Here's where you fit into
Yeah.
your career. I mean, we had some entrepreneurs for sure, but it was like, like at least in my community, the Armenian community, was like, oh, let's open up a vape shop, or let's open up, like a restaurant or something.
Yeah.
Like that was the
Go to.
go-to, right? But like seeing like how creative you guys are getting in your kind of endeavors, it's really cool to see. Like that's the one thing I love. It's like, oh no, we could see opportunities, and let's see what we can do with that.
Yeah.
It's a can-do attitude. Whereas I feel like millennials, and wait, we tried, we tried.
You tried.
Oops, like that time's gone. I hope you have a career now. Like it's like that now. For us, it's like it was more like you can do, but be careful.
Right.
Why do you think a lot of millennials think like that, or had more expectations from their parents or elders?
I think it was the 90s. Like the 90s, I remember the 90s being such a time of solid consistency. You graduate, you don't even need a professional degree. You just graduate college, and then you watch, like my older cousins had a career. Like they had a career that's like solid for like a decade, 15 years. And that's the 15 years you're kind of growing up as a millennial, right? So it's like for us, just watching what happened in the 90s, going, oh, we're going to copy paste this in the early 2000s. And then what do you have in the 2000s? 2001, we have 9/11, which caused a significant recession.
Yeah.
And then 2005, 2006, you have the beginning of the housing crash that lasted like 2 years, right? So now you have this two kind of a double-edged sword, not a double-edged sword. You have this kind of double-pronged attack on millennials in that, one, there's not a lot of high-paying jobs right out of college. Two, you don't have access to the easiest way to grow your wealth for, the way our parents did in the 90s, which is get property. So you don't have, you're losing out on both those fronts.
Point, yeah.
And so, and I don't think the economy stabilized until 2012. Like it took like 4 years of Obama to like monetary policy to just even like soft land that recession. Because it was a recession just spread over 4 years.
Yeah.
Well, they call it like the
Great Recession.
The Great Recession,
right.
But just stretched over a longer period of time. And then just as like millennials are starting to do well and trying to get back on that track, what happens? Pandemic. Boom. Now you have mass layoffs, a lot of labor switching, like inflation. So it's like, I mean,
you think there's a series of unfortunate events?
100%, because you didn't have that in the 90s.
Yeah.
You had light recessions, but you saw. And again, this is to the point of growing up as a millennial in the 90s. You grew up seeing that consistency, going, all right, this is my expectation. This is what I expect is going to happen for the next few years. And lo and behold, a graduate, like you need a graduate degree now. You need to have a professional degree now, which is like another 3 to 4 years minimum after college, right?
After college, exactly.
So it's that piece for us that like, I think they what's the word I want to use here? It's like that was the assumption for millennials. That was that's what they took for granted. It was like, oh, this is going to be similar for us that it was for the past decade for I think they were called Gen Xers. For the Gen Xers. Like you go look at Gen Xers, they were doing really well. They have property, they had careers, they did well. And then we're just like, oh, it's our turn. And it wasn't. It was not our turn.
Y'all didn't plan for all the unforeseen things that happened.
Exactly.
Yeah.
We just but then to be fair, we didn't know, oh, the entire housing market's gonna crash. Oops. And then I didn't know that the entire world is gonna be under pandemic lockdown for oops. Yeah. And then severe inflation, because what happens, and this isn't a political statement at all, just an economic one. When you give everyone cash at the same time, and everyone's spending cash at the same time, and then people have loans, when you do that, what you do is that increase in income for everyone across the board is going to result in an increase in prices across the board.
Simple supply and demand.
Supply and demand. That's just the way economics works, and that's what we saw. Now you have crazy not a recession. You have really high
housing
prices,
gas prices,
everything. Everything increases.
And isn't that the crazy part? Even though housing is through the roof, so I've been thinking about this a lot. Even though housing is through the roof, right? People are still buying. Why are they still buying? That's the question. So you have to look at the development side.
Yes.
On the development side, single family homes aren't being made anymore.
No.
They are only things being made, two main things: warehousing space and apartments.
Yes.
Okay. You go down to the Inland Empire, right? And what do you see? You see crazy housing communities coming up, right? Apartment communities.
Yeah.
And what's right next to it? Warehousing. What are they trying to do? They're trying to get the warehouse workers to live right next door.
Exactly. No, that you nailed it. And I think another part of that, to part of that puzzle is, you got to realize those Gen Xers that we just talked about, they're locked into 2%, 1% interest mortgages.
Yep.
Yeah. They have no incentive to sell their property.
Why would they?
And why would they? Why would they? Even if it's like a $5 million, then they're going to have to go to
pay rent someplace
crazy price, or take a 7% interest mortgage. Why do that? I'm just going to sit on my property and wait this out.
Yep.
So what that does is it takes so much property out of the supply part that I need to buy a house because I need to preserve my income. And it's like, that's where we want to start growing our next egg a little bit, is because it's a little bit stable. And I mean, over a course of a long period of time, it's stable. And it's like, okay, I have to get a $900,000 condo, that was 300,000 10 years ago.
Mm.
But I'm gonna pay for that price. Why? Because there's nothing else on the market.
Right.
So you're like, you just have to acclimate to that new price.
Yeah.
Prices are sticky going down, which means I don't anticipate these prices going down anytime soon severely.
Right.
But
Something I've been reading on, just at least in Southern California. So in the last 3 months, housing prices have decreased by 10 to 15%.
Yeah.
So it's something not great, right? I mean,
the discount for sure.
it's a discount, right?
Yeah.
For people that are making probably $200,000+ a year.
Yeah.
So
Makes it affordable for people at the top.
exactly. makes it
Always
affordable.
does.
Yeah.
Yeah. But then what happens is, like, where are those houses, right? Like, are they in like high demand areas like Glendale, like, you know,
Exactly.
I don't know
Yeah,
that
I
they're
don't
in those
know.
areas.
Yeah.
Those areas might be like 1 to 2%.
Yeah.
But it might be like areas that are like
Suburban.
East Vale or something.
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. What's the other one?
More
like
inland.
Santa Clarita, like those
In the valley.
areas. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah.
Even here, like, I mean, it's still the suburbs, right? They call it the mid counties
Yeah.
across the 605. You're seeing some discount there. But even here, like, you're seeing 1,200 square foot houses for $1 million. Like,
Yeah.
what's happening? How are you
Yeah.
paying like $500 a square foot when you're buying? It's crazy.
all those people.
Yeah.
And what I think that is there's a lot of overseas investors that they just had access to low interest loans.
Yeah.
So they're like, I'm going to buy cash. You know, I'm just going to buy
100%.
I'll put 300,000 over asking price. I don't care.
Yeah.
And you as a home buyer is like, yeah, I'll take more money.
course, yeah.
Of course I'm going to take more money.
Right.
Sorry, family who
Yeah.
scrimped and saved to come up with 20% over the past 10 years. This cat, you know, from, you know, Dubai,
Yeah.
he's paying me like 500K over his asking price. And there's
Right.
no way that family could afford that.
Right.
So it's like, once you get these scooped from under you, it's
Yeah.
like, it's gonna establish the new rate for houses.
Mm.
But what's happening now? As soon as you pump up the interest rate, where they're like, "Oh, I can't access that kind of income anymore."
Yeah.
Well, they're not doing that anymore.
They're not yet.
That's frozen now.
Yeah.
You know, and then buyers are like, "Oh, but I wanted to sell for 1.5 million." They're like, "Well, here's the family again. Now they want it for 900." That's where you see that kind of coming. I think that's where you're seeing a lot of that movement.
So I heard a fact, or supposedly a fact, a statistic, I should say. I think RFK actually said it. He said that by 2030, BlackRock, State Street, they're going to own 60% of the housing market by 2030 if it doesn't
Residential?
stop. Residential.
That's crazy.
Really?
That should be. I mean, to me, that's kind of like a monopoly in a way. I mean, they're monopolizing how people live. I mean, a standard of life, right? Housing
100%.
house.
100% agree.
And
60%?
they're going to own if it continues going the way it's going.
That's wild.
That's insane.
Just like he was saying, just like overseas investors are coming in, these massive conglomerate corporations are coming in as well.
right.
Like there's this, at least in the warehousing space, there's this company called Prologis. I don't know if you've heard of them, but they are eating up every warehousing space right now because of what happened over the pandemic. They saw the trajectory.
Yeah.
And then they executed. They've been buying everything, and they're giving decent rates. Not even crazy. They make their building. They'll reconstruct a Class C building, make it a Class A building, and then they'll just keep acquiring.
Yeah.
I mean, you'll see on the freeway now. Look out for. You'll see on the freeway. If you look out, you'll just see Prologis.
I've seen that.
Yeah, you've seen that.
I've
Yeah,
seen that.
exactly.
And I'll tell you what the crazy thing is. It doesn't seem like a problem now if they're giving good rates, right? But it's kind of like the Instagram effect, where it's like, yeah, they're really friendly to
Yeah.
users in the beginning stages, but once you've accumulated and you've hit that critical mass
Yep.
of users, right?
Yep.
Now you're like, oh, they depend on us because we have a monopolized on this
Power
this
shifts.
You have the
Exactly.
supply, yep.
Now what are they doing? You want to post and you want your friends to see your post, you have to boost your post.
Right.
You want people to see your live reel, you got to boost your live reel. Everything is nickel and diming, and it's gotten so crazy that, like, before it was at least you were paying only to Instagram. But now, and I'll tie it back to what we're talking about. But now Apple's in the mix of saying, "Oh, you're paying Instagram, but you're using our phone to do it." No, you have to pay Apple now $15. So before, where
Instagram has to pay Apple, right?
no, you do.
We do.
You do now. Now it says
In order to boost a post.
in order to boost a post. At least for my
Wow.
business accounts,
Okay.
it's like you want to pay $20 for a boost, you have to pay $15 or $10.
Wait, really?
to Apple. Yeah, yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah, once we get off, I'll definitely
Yeah,
I'll show
sure,
you
yeah.
what it looks like. But it's like you have to pay both now. And going back to the kind of what we're talking about in the sphere of like warehouses,
Yeah.
I can envision that once they have critical mass in terms of if they've taken, like, if you don't have options
Yeah.
to go for a warehouse, you best believe they're
gonna
going to
pay.
increase the price.
100%.
You're going to have to.
Yeah.
And what is that? Okay, but where does that translate to? Let's think about where the world's going, right? It's more, I'm buying things online at a faster rate.
Absolutely.
So what is the online prices that we all switched to because they were cheaper? They now go up.
Right.
Right.
As a result. 100%.
As a result.
Yeah.
And what happened to all the mom and pop? And I'm not a political statement, just an economic one.
Yeah.
Like what happened to a lot of the places we used to go, like like GameStop.
Yeah.
Starts doing gone, or I mean they're still there, but like a lot of these places, brick and mortar is what I'm trying to say.
GameStop's going to
Shack,
the moon though.
Going to the moon. I hope it. Hey, to the moon.
Round 3.
I hope. I missed round 1 and 2, but fucking round 3, guys.
Stock wise, at least.
Yeah.
Stock wise.
But that's kind of the point, man. It's like everything seems so we took it for granted that like we didn't. I mean, in my time, we didn't even have to pay online taxes. Sales tax.
Really?
Because you used to buy from Amazon and it would ship from where? New Jersey, that had no sales tax. So you didn't have to pay sales tax before. Slowly they closed that loophole, and now you do. And then slowly they're like, yeah, well now these warehouse prices are crazy high. So hey, you remember that $10 thing that you used to buy from us that cost $20?
Right.
Well now it's actually $25.
Yeah.
With inflation and everything. So I definitely agree with you, man. I think the housing market's the similar thing. If you have 60%,
owned by one company, what are we supposed to do?
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're at their whim.
Yeah.
Because there's not enough supply.
So these big companies are competing with overseas competitors. American families are not even in the mix of this competition.
I don't even think a lot of American families are in the game.
Yeah.
I mean, just to give you guys an example, my wife's an attorney. I'm an attorney. Yeah, besides being a comic. I'm also an attorney, a full-time attorney.
Right.
I didn't go to, and nothing against like lower ranked schools, but I went to a top 14 law school.
Where'd you go?
UCLA.
UCLA, nice.
Yeah, and then my wife went to USC Law. I mean, those are in LA. Those are 1 and 2.
Yeah.
For law school, and we are struggling to buy a condo after 5 years of being attorneys. And
that is crazy.
And if you take a look at where our income is, top 5% earners in Los Angeles, where it stacks up. You look at people's incomes, right? If me and her are struggling, and believe you me, I don't eat out. I don't spend my money, and she doesn't spend her money like on crazy things. We don't go out restaurants every night or anything like that. We don't drive fancy cars. It's like even then it's that difficult. I don't know how someone who's not in that boat is making it right now. Like I just don't understand.
5 years is wow.
That is insane.
Yeah.
I think what's happening, at least for people that are figuring it out, it's probably a lot of like familial and parental help, right?
I think so.
Yeah,
that's a chunk of it.
Yeah.
I think the other thing is side hustles. I think a side hustle is like
kind of necessary.
It's kind of like, yeah, dude. You got to moonlight.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
I like how they. What I love is like it has this like positive connotation.
Yeah.
To it, it's like what you're talking about is starting another business to support your life.
Right.
Yeah. It's like, oh, the career that you have wasn't enough. You're going to do a side hustle. Yeah. You mean start a whole new business to make more money because the thing that you're doing doesn't pay enough. It's hard. For that to be the standard.
It's insane.
It's insane. That we need to I love a hustle mindset. We've talked about this so many times.
Yeah.
I love people that hustle. I love people that grow. I love people that work hard. And I like people that are like work towards their passion. But dude, come on. You're telling me like we got to have 3 fucking businesses and be lawyers to fucking have
and pursue the arts and pursue comedy.
Yeah. Bro, I got to do all that?
I have to make people laugh.
40, bro.
Yeah.
At 40, bro, I got to do all that? Why? Why do we have to do that? Well, we just explained why. Like it's like you got to have property, you got to have you got to have steady stream of income, man.
And to me things happen over time, right? We can't anticipate everything, right?
No.
So you can't anticipate that overseas investors is going to be a result of like globalization. It's just you can't like oversee that, or like some $1 trillion company is going to come about and buy everything, right? Every small business, every property. But it's like, okay, now what do you do about it, right?
Yeah.
And to me, having overseas, like having Chinese investors come in or Saudi Arabian investors come in and buy by the masses, there should be some like, hey, we need to protect American citizens here.
Yeah.
And that's just, it doesn't seem like it's happening. And it's like, where do we go from here? How do we stop a BlackRock from accumulating everything as well. There's ways to do it, right? But nobody's talking about it. Nobody like serious in political game is talking about it.
Well, I think look, you remember if you watch the debate, there was a part in the debate where they asked both parties, and so again, not a political statement. I just want to give you an idea of like
It's okay. You can make a political
no,
statement.
but it's important that it's not for the purpose of like
Right.
getting the point across, because it's like
Being objective,
being objective, right? It's like what can we do? What can we do as an objective statement?
Mhm.
But everyone could be like, like, oh, let's stop all this. That's a normative statement. Or the market will fix itself. That's the other normative statement. But to the question of why is it being swept under the rug, both candidates were asked, families are suffering. They can't afford housing. They have kids. What are you going to do for them? Trump went on about, I don't know what, but did not answer. Didn't even touch not even touch the question. It was like, let me talk about this thing. But Biden did the same thing.
It was Biden's golf handicap. And
Yeah,
that's
exactly.
It's
And I
not a
think that was
six.
that one. And I think that's exactly that one.
no way.
It's like he's like my my handicap. I'm like, yeah, we know.
You are
He's a
handicapped.
good
Yeah,
golfer.
we know. I feel really bad. But that's why it's being swept under the rug, because candidates don't take it seriously, or they're very good at sideswiping these questions,
Right.
which is a very serious question. Like someone like me, that's a very serious question. And I mean that just that little portion of that told me that the truth is nobody gives a fuck about middle class families trying to make it.
100%.
Nobody cares.
Yeah.
And the other part of that is, man, it's like, when they had the trust, did you guys learn about the trusts in the early, like, I think it was like the 1900s or late
1800s.
Late 1800s.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
guys have you learned about that?
Of course.
It's like these big companies that were like oil.
They were
used to be-
monopolies,
Yeah, the
basically.
Oh
monopolies.
yes, yeah.
They called them
like
trusts back then.
Rockefeller. Yeah,
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you have
Carnegie,
like
yeah.
the oil trust,
Right,
which
right,
would be like the oil company that did, like, it was the
That
oil.
did right. 100%.
It was the Standard Oil.
yeah.
It's the only oil. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then they had like railroads was one guy,
Right.
and then steel was one guy.
Right.
Mhm.
And so that took time before people saw like, oh, this is biting us in the ass now.
Right.
When it was in everyone's favor, nobody complained, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
But as soon as workers
Wages decreased.
workers wages decreased,
Standard living. Yep.
yeah, all that stuff.
Yep.
Standard living, all that stuff decreased. Which again, go to what's happening in Instagram, because it's such a model. If you have already critical mass on, and I think I'm saying critical mass is the right thing. What I mean when I say that is we've got most of the people using our platform that are going to use it. To get that extra 100,000 people is now cost prohibitive. So we don't even want to go after them. We
Yeah.
have what we need to make money. Now we're going to squeeze what's in here. We're going to squeeze whatever this juice is worth
Right.
to get the last dime for what it's worth.
I think one of the other problems, you touched monetary policy, but also I think is corporate greed in general. If you look at 1980 compared to 2024, adjusted for inflation,
Yeah.
workers' wages have remained stagnant.
Absolutely.
after inflation, obviously,
Absolutely.
adjusted for inflation. That's a big red flag.
Should be.
And Bernie Sanders is the only guy I can think of that stood up for workers. To his credit, he has a lot of faults in his policies, but
Everyone
he's
does,
the
yeah.
only guy that's been standing up for like working families
100%.
and advocating for
And
them.
and when he says that, what is he called? He's called a socialist. He's called all this stuff. But look, man, the problem I have again, this is me coming from a millennial perspective, and you guys might have the same perspective.
Mm.
For me, is everything, every sentence, every behavior, every kind of conduct is being politicized. Oh, does that fall under
100%.
conservative, or does that fall under liberal? Does that fall under the red states, or does that, you know what I'm saying? It's like, put on a mask because it's a health thing to do. Like, imagine just that statement. If you put on a mask, it slows whatever the fuck. Okay.
Yeah.
People are like, well, now it's like politicized, and it might be, but I'm saying like it didn't need to be. And going to your point, it's like a statement like people should have livable wages becomes, yeah, but at whose price? And that's now you're a socialist, and now you're this. It's like that's a new thing I've seen, and maybe it was there in the 90s. I just didn't notice it at the time, you know. But can you imagine if you make a statement, you're like, yeah, we should have families be able to buy houses and not have like investors scoop up 60% of the property. They're like, what are you, regulation, bro? What are you all about regulation, bro? What are you about that regulation line? you're fucking liberal. You're liberal. Go to
You
San Francisco.
libtard.
You libtard.
Yeah.
Or if you say something like, and look, I'm gonna give it to the other side too.
Yeah.
You know, it's like California is fucking squeezing businesses to the point where businesses are leaving.
Overregulated.
Right.
for sure.
Overregulating, and you're like, okay, dude, like I get what you're trying to do, but did we need 40,000 like miles of fucking like bike paths at the cost of traffic, at the cost of like, you know, squeezing the people that live here?
Yeah.
It makes, you know, whatever they do.
That's a go ahead.
Even more than bike paths, man. It's like just visually, right? It doesn't make sense where the tax money is going.
Yeah.
It's like they're
a great
squeezing,
point, yeah.
right? They're squeezing us, and then nothing's actually happening,
Yeah.
right? The 105 freeway. I mean, when were you born? What year?
I was born 84.
84. So you were too young to know or remember this at all, actually, because it happened in the 80s.
You
but-
remember it?
I was
He
there.
doesn't remember.
You were there.
I was there. You weren't
You weren't even conceived yet, bro. This guy.
He's like,
I know you weren't even conceived.
he watches a lot of documentaries about the 105 freeway. This is where he gets to use it.
I always bring this
freeway
point
head.
up, bro. Always. How many times have I brought this point up on the pod?
Wait, what's the point?
The 105
Say
freeway.
it.
What happened to
Oh
the
yeah.
105?
So
he
on the
hates-
105
oh my
freeway,
God.
In the 70s, they were trying to figure out a way to get fast to LAX, basically, right?
Yeah.
So in the 70s, they were trying to figure out a way to get to LAX faster. And so what they decided to do in the 80s was, hey, let's build a freeway and let's take out all these housing, right? And
Yeah.
so they encroached on all these properties, took out their housing,
Yeah.
paid them, sure, but they did it in 10 years. So, okay, I give them congrats. That's huge. Building a, I think, 25-mile freeway in 10 years,
That's pretty
good.
Yeah.
Comparably to now, I mean, right here on Florence on the 5 freeway, bro, that off-ramp,
Yeah.
that was being done for 7 years, an off-ramp?
That's
Am
crazy.
I in Bizarro world
No.
or?
Yeah.
You're right about the tax-paying money, but we know where our tax money goes. Overseas wars, right? Like
Yep.
the
Yes,
military
true.
budget,
Yep.
it's wasted on
Right.
these wars that are
Right,
not
right.
necessary.
Yeah.
We're giving money away to countries that are killing innocent people, which makes no sense.
And again, you say these truthful statements, and it goes through the filter
Yeah.
of the now. Dude, and I don't know if it's the algorithm. I don't know what it is, but it gets politicized. And so that's my problem with it. It's like, guys, you know, like, hey, red state brothers and sisters, you know, like, I don't know what to call them because
Yeah.
they're still citizens, bro.
Yeah.
I don't know what to
They
call
are,
them.
yeah.
They're still, I mean, dude, it's like, they live in a different world in their state. There should be
Same with blue states.
same with
too.
blue states,
Yeah.
right? Like they don't understand why we want a lot of gun control, but I do understand why they need less gun control in their states. If you live in like rural, like a rural town, and your
Mhm.
nearest neighbor is like 5 miles away, it's taking the cops 45 minutes to an hour to get to your
Mhm.
house, right? I understand where you're coming from to want to own your guns. I get it.
Sure.
And I'm not trying to encroach on that at all. But when we live in the towards the inner cities where like you're packed together
Mhm.
and there's way too many people that close together that already don't like each other, you want to give them guns, right? It's like, yeah, we need a little bit of for us in our cities, we need a little bit of that control.
Yeah.
So it's like the problem we've had is we've become too divisive and everything's being politicized, in my point, where we can't have these common sense conversations of like, hey man, do we really need to spend 14 trillion, whatever trillion dollars on our security? Hey man, if as a country we say, yeah, I don't have a problem with that.
Right.
But as long as we can communicate about it, right?
The masses can
the
communicate. Yeah.
masses can
Right.
together.
Exactly.
Not through their political leaders that all they
Exactly.
do is sideswipe questions, but it's like, hey man, do we agree on this? Because look, I don't think we do, but if the whole of the United States agrees, which I don't think that they do,
Mhm.
right? Because their position might be something like we want smaller government, we want more states to control their money and where it goes. Hey man, that's a fair point.
In the last 50 years, I think both political parties, Democrats and Republicans, have intentionally pried on people's political identities to
Yes.
divide us.
Yeah.
What they've done is actually, I mean, it's very, I think, unethical, but from their standpoint, it's a very smart thing to do because they made political identity a central part of someone's identity.
Yes.
Yes.
Like
And
being
yes.
conservative is like that is so important to me. Being
Yes.
liberal is so important to me.
And
Once you do
yes.
that, you can't have a nuanced conversation
Cannot.
because you're attacking the person's identity.
Yeah.
If I'm telling you to cut taxes, that becomes a conservative issue,
Yeah.
right? It's we're not looking at policy from a objective point of view. Everything becomes subjective.
Yeah.
And so the reality itself then becomes like
Us versus them.
malleable
mentality. Yeah.
because you can change it and
Oh, yeah.
adjust it
Oh, I see what
based
you're
on
saying, yeah.
whatever point you want to, come across.
It's almost like the biggest cult in the world.
Yes.
It's almost like it.
It's no. It is. It is.
It pretty much is.
It is. Not pretty much. It is. Because and it's also there's exacerbated, but it's just like herd. It's like in group out group mentality, right? Which we know humans have. So you look at sports teams have a similar kind of behavior. Oh, you're a part of you like them. You like the Celtics, and you live in LA. Oh, you're the worst kind of person. You know what I'm saying? Like there's these rivalries, and essentially what we've done is we've turned this into a rivalry where I never thought that it needed to go there. And what else exacerbates it? Did you know about this part?
What?
Did you guys know that foreign agents, and again, someone's got to fact check this. This is millennial brain. So this might be just conspiracy theories. But what I think is true is foreign states, like I think Russia did this in the 2016 elections, start showing one side one thing to start hating the other side, shows the other side stuff about the right, so they start hating each other, and they help drive that wedge even further, right? And disinformation campaigns, and all they have to do is sit back and wait. All they have to do is sit back and wait, because what you get is you get two groups that want to like hurt each other. Where it's like, dude, all we're talking about is admin. A government is just admin. Think about that. We're fighting with each other about administration. It's like, that's crazy. Like, you're willing to kill for that ideology.
Yeah.
But the other side is too. Both sides are.
Both
are. And it's like, let's not forget, we're just talking about administration of a state. Like, we're not talking about anything more than that.
Right.
You know? But then they're like at each other's fucking throats. And I think that's crazy.
And then the question begets, right? Like, who's facilitating this? Why is it facilitated that one side is being fed only this information? Like, if I'm on Instagram and I'm only seeing conservative thing, I don't see anything liberal. It's like they're doing this.
That's
right?
the algorithm.
That's the algorithm.
And this is the funny thing, and this is a theory of mine, and I don't know if I can prove it, but what they want is engagement. Doesn't matter. They don't care if it's positive or negative engagement.
Exactly.
Right? So when are you most likely to engage and talk about something?
Something that's outrageous.
Something's outrageous. Something that's against your point of view. Then you're like, wow, what the fuck? No, I'm going to fucking say something about this.
Yeah.
You know? But when you see like, oh, that's a pretty cat, I'm not going to
You just like it. You don't comment.
Yeah. So if they want engagement, what they're going to show you is the thing you hate, right? Based on what you've seen. So I think the way the algorithm works now is it's going to show people, like, you put a stand-up clip on, there's going to show the people that fucking hate stand-up, and especially your kind of stand-up, because those are the people that are going to comment, this is stupid, this is...
I guess when you hate comments?
Have you noticed?
I thought it was just me. I'm just having like a...
It's rare getting positive comments when you don't have any.
Yeah, my friends give me positive comments.
Yeah.
Right.
But once it goes past a certain 1,000 views, it's like... who's this bald guy thinks he's fucking cool?
Right.
Fuck this guy.
Right.
You know, it's like, your mom's a fucking lip tart. It's like, what are you talking about, man?
Yeah.
Why are you being so mean?
Yeah.
Because and this
People
is
are
a theory.
so mean online, man.
Yeah.
People are so mean.
Are they, or are we just being fed the stuff that triggers
To the
each
wrong
other, to
people.
the wrong people?
Mm.
And I think they do that with political stuff.
It's the perfect clusterfuck.
Yeah.
It's the perfect clusterfuck. It's like an algorithm that's feeding into natural human nature
Yeah.
to hate on people, right?
Yeah.
I think going back to your point about foreign countries, though, they've discovered that they can't really militarily compete against our country.
Nope.
Some countries can, like Russia and China, but America is still stronger and
Russia
more powerful.
with China can.
With
Right.
China. Yeah, I don't
That's
think
my point is they realize that America is militarily dominant, but they realize the biggest weakness is the division inside our country.
The stupidity
And
of
so
the people.
They've discovered if we have to bring America to its knees, we're going to do it internally.
Yes.
And that's why China and Russia wage these wars every election, these
Yep.
disinformation campaigns,
I agree.
because they know how to get us more divided. But
Absolutely.
honestly, though, Vivek Ramaswamy made this point as he was traveling across America, and this is not in support of his campaign or whatnot, but he's made a point that I agree with. If you go to like different cities across America, we're not as divided as we seem. We can have a conversation.
100%.
Once we start talking about politics is when we get so divisive.
Or
Like
we
if you remove that aspect, we're
You know
not.
what?
I would say defensive. I wouldn't say divisive. I feel like a lot
we
of
get
people
defensive.
we get
Okay.
defensive of our. It's like, dude, I know so many people that supported Trump in the 2016 elections that they didn't even talk about it. They didn't. They were like
Yeah.
silently withheld that stuff. They lived in LA at the time, and they just held that in like close to their chest, you know. And it's like, dude, you feel like you can't even support someone.
Right.
And first of all, there's a reason why we go into a little booth that's like a confessional booth where nobody watches us,
Yeah.
and we just put a little thing in. We don't have to explain ourselves. We don't have to talk about why we did what we did.
Mhm.
It's a little like a confessional booth, and it should stay that way.
Mm.
Talking about it like, oh, you did what? You did with that used to be bad etiquette to talk politics with
Right.
friends. Because
Really?
yeah,
Yeah.
that used to be bad etiquette. Like that's
Ah,
not that's
Politics
not
and religion.
yeah, politics and religion you do not discuss at the table, like when you're around people or with friends, you know. And so for me, it's like we've lost that. We've lost that. It's like, dude, fucking a lot of people voted for Reagan twice
Mhm.
at a landslide elections. You're like, okay, so what? We're just not gonna be friends because you voted for Mondale. Does anyone even remember
Walter
Mondale? Yeah,
Mondale.
does even remember that guy? I don't even know if that's the right guy. To be honest,
He was the
with you.
vice presidential candidate.
Oh, was he really?
Yeah.
I don't even know who that is. You know what I mean? But I'm saying,
believe so,
I don't
yeah.
even know who the main guy is. Is my point? Maybe it was Jimmy Carter the first time.
Yeah,
don't even-
Reagan beat Jimmy Carter the first time.
Yeah, and I don't remember who the second
Yeah.
one was.
The second time I forgot. I don't know
Exactly.
either. Yeah.
But he won by a landslide. I remember that. I wasn't there, but I mean, I was there, but I wasn't there. You know.
Mm.
But sorry, the point I'm trying to make is like, it's a lot of like, I have to protect my values because I
Mhm.
feel like it's attack from you. But if people understand, like, I don't think someone in like Ohio is trying to attack my values,
Is right.
right? It's like, hey man, we can have a conversation about this. You could. Here's the thing, bro. You can be right, and I can be right.
In your own way. Yeah, 100%.
Right? Like
Yeah.
it's like we're talking about opinions.
Yeah.
Fucking everyone can be right.
That's how this bipartisan poly was started, right? Neither is wrong or neither is right.
Yeah.
It's just that's the way it goes.
Yeah. And it's
ridiculous.
turned vitriolic. It's turned
Yeah.
like, and there's no voice. Like I don't have a voice to my conservative,
Yeah.
counterparts, and say, hey man, I know what you want and what your needs are.
Yeah.
I respect that. This is how I feel because
Right.
I live over here.
Mhm.
Yeah.
We have different issues here. I respect what you're doing. I respect that you want to pay. Why are you wanting to pay for taxes that you talk about? We're never seeing it in
Yeah.
California. Imagine some rural cat who's paying all these taxes and he doesn't see a fucking dime.
Crazy.
Doesn't see a dime of that being done for him.
It's crazy.
It's a different world for these people that everyone has turned a blind eye to.
Yep.
And what do you get when you've been you feel like you've been the victim and like unheard, and you're told you're dumb, you're a hick, you're this, you're
Aggression,
that.
You start
violence.
hating, bro.
You
Yeah.
start hating.
Yeah.
And then that's why when they try to assassinate Trump yesterday, it's like, it doesn't matter if you assassinate Trump. Trump's a symptom.
Yeah.
You know what
It's
I
a
mean?
figure. It's an ideology.
It's an
that you're
ideology.
fighting.
It's the anger
Yeah.
that they're voting for.
Yeah.
And so it's like, if you don't understand that, like, that's
Another ballgame.
that's why we're at where we're at. It's
Yeah.
because you left aren't willing to meet this halfway, so they're gonna take control over whatever they can.
By the way, side note, you were right. It was Walter Mondale.
It was
in
Walter Mondale?
1984. He was.
How did I
he
know
was
that?
the former vice president though, so that's why I got confused.
Dude, I
But
have
yeah.
those moments where I have these facts stuck in my head.
Yeah.
Like, I've never read about this ever.
Really?
I
You
was
just
just
know?
like, it was just
Walter
in there
Mondale?
somewhere. It was just in there.
You
for
just had a
some
dream,
reason.
Walter Mondale.
Yeah, no,
versus
it's just
Reagan.
I just had the name stuck in my head, like Walter Mondale
The year-
against Reagan the second time, and it was a landslide.
1984. That's right.
Yeah, and I was born in 1984,
Yeah.
so it doesn't make sense because I wasn't even there.
The human brain.
The human brain is so dumb. It's so dumb.
dumb.
It's so dumb. It has all this information that it doesn't know how to like compartmentalize.
Maybe your mom was watching NBC
It
News.
could have been
Right, the whole
You know?
time she was pregnant.
It's like, oh, in like fucking 40 years, my son's gonna be on a podcast, and this is gonna be kind of like a tangential point he's gonna make, but it's gonna be there.
Supplemental.
Supplemental
information.
point, yeah.
Every time you said Mondale, you kicked. When your
Yeah.
mom was pregnant, you're like,
Mondale. That's my first word.
What?
Mondale. Mondale.
I
son remembers.
I think I like that people care about politics more,
Yeah.
but I think we should do it in a civil way. And I
Yeah.
think because so many people care about politics more, there's also a lot more ignorance
Yes.
where people selectively care about specific things.
Yeah.
Right? They're not looking at things holistically.
Yeah.
They're also being selfish in their politics. How is this gonna best benefit my family? Which they have the prerogative too.
Absolutely.
Which have the prerogative too.
Yeah.
But I think we should vote also thinking about what's best for the country and the world as a whole.
But here's
right?
the funny thing, bro. The founding fathers, for all their
Mhm.
faults, put in place a system that thinks about that.
Mm.
States have certain rights.
Mhm.
States have certain laws they can pass, and you have the federal government to look over the whole. Now, however you slice it and dice it, who gets how much power? I mean, I'm not even trying to get to that point. I'm just mean like a generic 1,000 foot view,
Yeah.
or 1,000 mile, 10,000 mile high view of like that's the general system. You have
Mhm.
state power, and then you have government power, and they share some things. Government does some things, states do some things.
Mm.
So they had that in mind.
Yeah.
They had that in mind
Yeah.
that like someone here is going to have different needs than in New York. We have the system in place. The problem is, I think human nature is we're tuned too much to be reactionary to fearful things,
Okay.
right? Like we're just evolutionary speaking, like the cat who, or the caveman who heard something in the bushes and said, "Fuck this, I'm gonna run because I'm scared," tended to survive.
Yeah.
The other person was like, "That's probably the wind." Got eaten more often than not.
Yeah.
So you
Natural
you
selection,
know what I'm
yeah.
saying? So natural selection over time, the trait that's been rewarded for humans is fear. So what gets
Hmm.
people motivated? Fear, right? If
Mhm.
you're scared you're going to be homeless in 2 years, you're going to do everything you can to
Mhm.
not be. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like if you think everyone's coming to take your guns away, and your eventual fear is the government's going to become a fascist system, right?
You're gonna go the opposite. Yeah.
You're going to go the opposite way. You're like, no, you're not touching my guns. I'm going to vote for politicians that are going to stand up to that, and they're going to
Yeah.
make smaller government. And that's the pattern we've been seeing. It's like, yeah, that's all I would say.
No, yeah, I'm piggybacking off of that like 1,000 mile like view, looking down that bird's eye view. If you talk to anybody, right? I don't know if you're conservative, liberal, whatever you are. You talk to the opposite party. If you go into the nuances of things, most people agree. Most people think we're being gouged, right? Most people think we're being price gouged. Most
Yeah.
people think taxes are too much. Most people think we're putting too much money into overseas wars,
Yeah.
right? So it's like we agree on almost everything.
So many things.
On almost everything. It's just how do we get there? Now you look at that 1,000 mile view, and it's like, okay, which party is the good guy or bad? That's how people are viewing it.
That's
good
the
guy or
problem.
bad guy?
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah,
And
that's
it's
the
like,
problem.
why can't we talk about the policy and now talk about how you think the best way to get to this side becomes, right?
I think the problem's been one side has felt completely shunned,
Mm.
completely made to feel stupid, completely not heard anything they had to say be listened to.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And I don't think that's a new thing. I think like global leaders, they tend to be on the coasts, right? So they tend to come from liberal places.
Mm.
I mean, even if you're like a Republican, like you go to DC, you're now on the coast. Well, the coastals tend to be more liberal because there's a little bit more people on that side, right?
Mhm.
It's the necessity.
Mm.
When you're around a lot of people, you need to think liberally, because I can't think individualistically too much, because those kind of policies cause a lot more problems like crime or other kinds of issues, health issues. Like if you're gonna like let's say in LA
Yeah.
we banned abortions, we're gonna have a health crisis here, But if
Mm.
but if you go to like, I don't know, what's another, like Missouri, for example, right? A lot less population there.
Mm-hmm.
If you ban abortions there, you grow your population. That's something
Right.
they want and need. Like the state has an interest in
Oh
that,
wow, that's interesting.
right? So
Yeah.
it's like, and I think the point I'm trying to make there is the people that are crying victim, and we blame
Mhm.
them for crying victim, they actually have not been listened to. I think
Okay.
it's like they're voters just like we're voters, right? We just have a ton more voters on our sides
Right.
than they do over there. So it's like you're talking about, can we come together and
Mhm.
be heard? It's
Yeah.
like it's like, I think from their perspective, it might sound something like we've ignored them, but now that they have power,
Yeah.
we want to have a conversation with them. But when they didn't have power, we ignored them.
Leave them out. Yeah.
Yeah, leave them out. And then there's again, I don't know. And here's the problem: I don't know what they want. I don't know what their policies are. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It becomes talking about abortion, talking about hot button issues like the gun rights. I mean, those are two issues out of running an entire country, which you said there's a lot of things we agree on. I don't know how you bring both sides together, but I do agree to make this country run like a well-oiled machine. I think they do need to come together and figure out how to communicate apart from like, oh, liberals want to, teach your kids, your 2-year-old about sexuality, right? And, Republicans want, to ban abortion and ban, like no kind of gun control laws. It's like, what's the gray area where we agree on? What's all the stuff we agree on? I don't even know.
People need to realize that democracy is not guaranteed. Like what we have right now, even the right to vote every 4 years or every 2 years for midterm elections, it's not guaranteed. And so a lot of Americans still don't vote. They still don't vote. I think 40% of eligible voters last election in 2020 did not vote.
That's crazy.
Think about that. Yeah. That's millions of people that were like, no. And I have friends.
That's about half.
A lot.
Half.
That's almost half.
Half said, this doesn't represent me.
And you know what? 2020 was the most amount of voters we've ever had.
I didn't know that.
One of the most amount of voters we've ever had. Yeah.
Wow.
I'm like 90% sure on that fact. Yeah.
Wow.
That is
so
insane.
There's friends though in our generation. Like I was having a conversation with a friend yesterday. He was like, you know what? I'm not gonna vote. And I was like, what? No, don't do that because people think voting just means voting for president.
Exactly.
It does not. You're voting for your local mayor.
Yes.
You're voting for your local judges.
Yeah.
You're voting for your local, member of Congress, senator.
Yeah.
There's so many different layers to politics that people don't understand.
And they don't want to understand. That's
Yeah.
the other part. Because it doesn't involve those hot topic issues like we talked about. I guarantee you if there was a local politician that did have an opinion on that, like a hot topic issue, everyone's going to know about that politician.
Well, I think it's also just laziness. People have so
100%.
much going on. They don't have enough like brain power to.
Bro.
I'm not saying in terms of being smart enough. I'm just saying
Like
just
space.
like like space in their brain to occupy in terms of like what local politician is better than that one. But the thing
boring.
it's boring. But the thing is,
It's
some things are
important.
just boring in life.
Yeah.
We have to deal with it.
It's admin. It's
It's-
supposed to
you're
be.
It's bureaucracy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's supposed to
It's
be
not supposed to be
boring.
entertaining.
You don't go to your company structure and go, how are we going to restructure
Yeah.
this so that's a better thing for me? Like, nobody cares about
Yeah.
that stuff. The only time they get people out to vote are the people, again, it's these hot button things where, like, there's loudmouths talking about this one thing. And you're like, it's like one of those, like, I don't even know how to articulate this the right way. It's like the one thing. Oh, we're all going to war over the one thing, the one thing, or the two things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Bullshit. Yeah.
It's like that's the only thing that's driving us to the. But then, like you said, driving us to vote. But then there's other things like, did you know we don't have a federal day off to go vote?
We should.
We
You're right.
talk about the one thing that we need.
Yeah.
You want to get 40% more people to vote? Hey, maybe make it so I don't have to be at fucking work that day.
You're absolutely right.
Right?
Yeah.
We don't have that.
We should.
We don't have.
I don't
that.
know why we don't because they're saying.
Well, I
it's
know
gonna-
why.
Why? Why do you
Well,
think?
I know. I mean, I think I know why.
Why?
I can't. I mean, this is
No,
gonna be
you can say it.
political.
Yeah.
I think because they don't want poor people to vote.
You think it's because
You think rich people can't get the day off? I can get the day off as a lawyer. I can get the day off easily, and it won't put a dent in anything because I get salary. But if I'm an hourly worker, that's 1 day less of pay.
But you
You'll
could like,
vote on issues that maybe won't even change your life.
Exactly.
but you could do like mail-in ballots, right? You could vote like they can send a mail to your house and
Yeah.
you
Some-
vote
I mean,
like
do-
2
But
Well,
that's
weeks
relatively
before.
new, right?
Yeah,
That's a
That's
newish
a new
thing.
thing,
yeah.
But then it's like,
I think in
do they do
LA County everybody gets a
Mail-in
vote.
ballot?
Yeah, I think so.
Again, I don't know, but it's like they didn't do it for a long time, you know. And I don't know if all states allow you to do mail-in ballots.
You're right,
I hope
'cause
they
some are-
do.
yeah.
I hope they do. But that's an example of like, it's just an example of like you don't give people the time to get educated or the space to get educated about some of these issues.
Yeah, election day should be a holiday. I don't like right.
I
Like
would think
why? What
so.
is an
Yeah.
argument? Because it might affect the economy. Like it's all gonna crash. We already have so many days off.
Yeah.
4th of July is
What's
off.
gonna happen is rich people.
Independence Day.
The guy at the bank who's got to take the rich person's money is not there at the
Not
bank.
there, yeah.
So, oh, what's the one day I need my money in the bank? It's
Or
like,
make it half a day or something, right?
I
Like
know.
have
Yeah,
like some
yeah.
sort of federal legislation that allows workers to take a certain period of time off to vote.
bro. And then what'll happen is the right's gonna be like, that's a great policy. The right's gonna be like, that's a horrible policy.
Yeah,
that's
and left.
that's communism. The left's gonna be like, yeah. What about the? You're
How
not
is that
thinking.
communism though? Because you're encouraging literally democracy.
I know.
You're encouraging the bedrock
Oh, they'll find a
of
way.
democracy.
If there's
voting.
if there's
Yeah.
if there's
It's
a
an umbrella.
Either
yeah.
side, yeah.
If there's some like bad viewpoint, silver lining, both sides are gonna find it. The left's gonna say something like, "Are you gonna pay those people that have that day off? Are they gonna be? It's gonna be a paid holiday? Oh, you're not. Oh, so now you're just being fascist because you're telling they have to go participate in democracy when they don't necessarily might want." Everyone's gonna find the view. They're gonna spin it however they want to spin it. I don't know if they will. I'm just saying, like, that's the world we live in. Everything's politicized.
I didn't get a chance to ask you.
Yeah.
So you are a lawyer, full-time job.
full-time.
What led you to stand-up comedy?
I started stand up before starting my legal career. I was still a student at UCLA. During the summers,
During law school?
during law school, most law schools you have this summer where you go intern. It's like an internship. You're a summer associate at a law
Right.
firm, and essentially, like if you land a summer associate position, you're guaranteed a job after law school. That's what that kind of means, more often than not. And so, I'm an immigrant kid, right? English is my second language. And I felt like at that time, the one thing that I lacked was speaking confidently. And I know I'm going to need to do that during trial or for court hearings or with clients. Like you have to be comfortable public speaking if you want to be a lawyer, right? That's that's the thing a lot of people are scared of. And what I did was I'm like, look, I love stand up. I love writing. And what if I just for my public speaking skills, I did a class on stand-up comedy, and that's where that was born. And once I did it, once I took the class, I met a good friend of mine, Drew Daly, and me and him, like we've been open micing ever since and writing comedy ever since.
That's where you met him. Wow.
Yeah,
okay.
that's when that's where I met the dude. And by the way, you met Drew, right? You've seen him.
Yeah.
I've known him since then. He's always been that good since then. He's only gotten better.
Really?
But he's just a natural speaker, natural storyteller. His brain is just like when he's like a savant for comedy. Like he just knows where the funny is, or he's able to find it very quickly. But that's where it started for me, man. It was like I want to be a better public speaker. I want to do the thing everyone's scared to do. You know, with stand up, I mean, you've done it, man. Like you're up there alone. There's nothing in your pockets you can pull out. There's no help. With like improv, you have a team. You have a group working together.
It's very individual.
It's very individual. You're up there alone against an audience.
So you took a stand-up comedy class in law school?
During law school.
During law
Yeah.
school.
So
okay.
during the summer, because I knew I was going to get a job, I was like, sick. I'm just going to take, some of this earning and just take a class on this and see how I like it. And man, I loved it because talk about meritocracy. This is the one place where like it's just you, how hard you're willing to work, how many jokes you're willing to write. We've talked about this a little bit. It's like if you wrote 100 jokes that week, you're going to get closer to having better material than the guy who wrote 5 jokes that week. Right? Like the more work you do, the better it's paid off in laughter.
Right.
Over time. And I love that. I love that someone can't just sneak in and buy that. Right? In other places you can do that. In other places, if your dad's a lawyer, you're going to be getting a better paid job.
Yeah. Even in the film industry.
Even in the film industry. There's a lot of that where people cut lines. And what I loved about it is there's not a whole lot of BSing stand up. Like you are it's you. It's like, I guess, surfing. It's like no one can fake that for you.
Yeah.
No one can buy you, and like you have to learn and you have to be out there. You have to by process of doing, you learn. And it's one of the only things I've come across where you're learning it in front of people. And you can only learn it properly in front of people. Right? Like if you learn guitar, you can learn guitar at your own house.
True.
Slowly learn it, make sure it sounds right. You can record and watch your stuff. And when you're ready, now you can put your skills out there.
Yep.
It's not like that with stand-up. Stand-up, you learn by being out in front of audiences, by bombing, by going, oops, that didn't work. And how can you tell? Because it's silent.
Yeah.
Very
It's
clearly.
very black and white, I
It's
guess.
very clear cut who's doing well and who's not doing well.
Would you rather be a comedian or lawyer? I mean, you're doing both right now, but
I'm
if you
doing
had to
both.
pick for the rest of your life,
That's
you only get to do
weird.
one thing.
Yeah, I've never even thought of that, man.
Really?
Because, yeah, because I try to. For me, it's about in the moment. Like in the moment, right now, I love my legal career. I love being a lawyer. I
You
do.
love being a lawyer.
I love being a lawyer. It's actually with the way my brain works to solve problems.
What kind of law do you do?
I do so entertainment and business law. So
gotcha.
contract breaches and contract, drafting contracts, that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Like people come to me with a problem and it's like a Rubik's cube and I go up. This is the solution. That's the way my brain has always worked.
Gotcha.
So it's like I think one way to, it's like, how guys like to mansplain things and just like here,
Yeah.
let me explain why this is. I get to do that and get paid for it, and I love that.
You get
It's
to
true.
mansplain for a
paid
living.
mansplainer.
Yeah. It's mostly to other men, and
Yeah.
but I get to explain how things work, and I love that. With stand up, I mean, I love it. It does have its pitfalls too. I think, as much as an individual stand up comic skill level is concerned, it's what I said is what I think I've seen. But when it comes to the career of stand up, now you're getting into, you have 190,000 followers on Instagram and you have an OnlyFans account and you're a beautiful woman. Yeah, you're getting booked way before someone who's like a stand up comic.
Right.
So that's been my experience with that. But I just take it as the days come. If one day I need to choose, I'll evaluate at that point. But that's way far out there. Yeah. Like I'm not making money doing stand up
Yeah,
to go, all right.
No, it's like your passion project almost, right?
Yeah, it's something I'm very, very, very passionate about.
Yeah.
I work really hard. Like, how hard I work towards
Yeah.
it. I write
Is
daily.
the goal to become professional comedian?
No.
It's just the enjoyment of it.
It's the process.
Yeah.
I mean, that's how I became a lawyer.
You
was
love
the
the process.
Yeah.
I love
Interesting.
process. And that's all as long as I'm doing the process to the best of my abilities, I'm like, okay, that's a good thing. Like I do the same thing with law. I wasn't the goal to be a lawyer. My goal was I'm going to do well in this class of calculus and economics. And
Gotcha.
when I got that degree, it's like, okay, what's the next academic journey? And I looked at a lot of different areas. I didn't just choose law. Like it was like I just took a look at everything, talked to a lot of people. I'm like, oh, that kind of resonates with me. I like that. So I'm going to take the LSAT. So let's take the LSAT. But I want to take the LSAT and I'm going to be focused on the LSAT. Did really well on the LSAT, which is the law school, I think
Admissions test. or something?
admissions test, yeah. And I got like 98th percentile. I was like, okay, that's fun. This is a good sign,
That's
Yeah.
amazing.
And
Did you enjoy taking the LSAT?
yeah,
You enjoyed
but
it?
that's my point. Is I enjoyed that.
Mm.
I enjoyed the process of learning that. I liked that step a lot. Then I got into law school and it was like 1L. 1L is notoriously hard in law school. It's
First
like,
year of law school.
it's like the first year. It's like
Okay.
it's meant to be
difficult.
difficult.
Yeah.
And I loved it and I was thriving and I didn't care that I didn't do well in a cold call. Like I enjoyed it. I had fun. And then I just kept, it's like a building blocks. Like I enjoyed the next level every time,
Yeah.
and then the pandemic happened and then it was like it's like a shift because you're like, oh, I don't even know what step was I on? Where was I in comedy? Like everything got jumbled up. And so, but yeah, up until that point, I was like, yeah, this is great. As long as I get to do this, I'm happy. As long as I get to do open mics and write daily, I'm happy.
You're one of the few lawyers I've met who genuinely enjoys their legal profession, which is awesome to see.
Yeah. And, but I've had to fight for that too. Like
Yeah.
there were firms I worked for that were not good.
Okay.
Yeah. And I didn't enjoy it. And I did not enjoy the people.
So it has its pitfalls, ups and downs,
100%.
right?
100%. But I found a firm where I can enjoy the people, and that's a big thing to me,
Yeah.
My quality of life is very important to me. So those things are important, man. Those things are really important. It's like
That's a really strong mindset, by the way. Just being in the moment and hyper focusing on that moment, right? Like this is what I'm doing right now, and this is how I this is how I do the best of my abilities, right? To do well here.
yeah.
And then you keep going. I think that's one of the kind of faults in life, right? You kind of hyper focus on this goal, and instead of working in the moment, it's like you're imagining being here, right?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
by imagining being there, just as a result, you're not doing the work, right?
Right.
But the work is what's going to get you to that pinnacle.
Which is why, like, I admire that you love the process. If you love the process of stand up, you'll be successful.
I
Because a
think-
lot of people hate the process but love the result.
Exactly. And I think that's just checking a box. And I
Yeah.
think that's what needs to be checked is why do I want the end? What's about the end that I love? Or is
Yeah.
it just the money?
Mm.
You know, like you grew your business. You couldn't have grown it if you're just like, yeah, all I want to do is have a ton of money.
Right.
You got to like each step.
You have to enjoy it, yeah.
Solving each problem at each step is
Yeah.
like the critical thing.
Right.
And that's what it is with stand up too. It's you're solving the problem. I have a joke, it's not working. How do I solve it? How do I get to the next level?
Mhm.
If you enjoy that each baby step, you within 2 years, 5 years, you look back, you're like, oh shit, I have like usable material and I have like all these like jokes and stuff, or I have a business I've grown, or oh, I'm a lawyer who's a fifth year who loves what they do.
Yeah.
But if I was just like, I just want to be a wealthy lawyer,
Yeah.
bro. Once
Right.
you get
Yeah.
that, what do you? What's okay?
What is it?
Let me give
What
that
now?
to you.
Yeah.
Let me
What
give
now?
that to you.
Yeah.
You have that now. You're a wealthy lawyer.
Mm.
So what?
Mm.
You check the box.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So what?
Where's the meaning in it?
Where's the meaning in it?
Yeah.
You got the thing.
You have to be fulfilled.
Yes,
Right.
and that's the tantrum kids throw, right? I just want the toy, and that's for me is like it's not a. I think it's an ego thing, bro. It's like, and I don't mean ego like you're egotistical,
Mhm.
like I don't mean like narcissism. I don't mean it that way, but it's a protective mechanism. You're like, if I have this, I'll feel fulfilled. That's all I need is I just want to feel like I'm whole, where I
Mm.
have confidence. Because if I have that, I have confidence.
Yeah.
Right, but if I pull that away or give it to you, it's like, oh, I still feel empty. Oh, oops.
Yep.
What's next?
It's like the gym mirror, right?
Yeah.
You look good in the gym, right? But then when you get home, it's like, shit, did I really even do anything
I
at the gym?
deflated?
No,
What-
probably
yeah.
not. Right?
exactly. That's a great way to.
I
put
like
it.
the Rubik's Cube analogy too.
Yeah.
Because in stand up, it applies so perfectly because what I've discovered is writing a joke is like figuring out a Rubik's Cube, literally. And life is like that as well. You have to enjoy the process of
Yeah.
solving that Rubik's Cube. So I think that's a good note to end the podcast. Anything else you want to say before we leave?
Plug yourself.
No, look, what you guys are doing is awesome, and
Thank
I
you.
see how hard you've been working. I've heard now I've met you, and I see how hard you're working. So this group makes sense to me, you know, and it's like it just makes me so happy. There's people out there still willing to grind for stuff. You know what I mean?
Appreciate that. Yeah.
Like it's like that's the thing that I think a lot of people miss about your generation is how hard you guys are willing to grind and not complain about grinding.
Right.
And I think it's a beautiful thing. And I wish more people were like you guys. You know, that's a great thing to have. It's a great quality to have. All the fun I've had in my life, all the fun and this whatever you consider success has been as a direct result of enjoying the process. If there's one thing I could give, like I'm having a kid soon, if there's one thing I could give to my
Congrats
kid,
on that.
thanks,
Congrats,
man.
man.
Thank you.
Huge.
Yeah, that's a
Dude,
huge thing.
I don't know what his generation is gonna do,
Yeah.
but it's like the one thing I hope he has
Yeah.
is passion for not the work, not just blind work, but the work towards the thing that make you happy. The little steps, the little incremental stuff, man, because that's what's worth it.
That's a
Yes,
great
sir.
point. Yeah. Enjoying the little stuff.
Enjoying the little stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
Yes, sir.
I like that.
Thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, thanks for
Appreciate
having me,
it.
man.
Yes,
It was
sir.
fun. Yeah,
You're,
thanks,
you're a
guys.
Gen Zer in my book.
Thanks, guys.
You have the card. You can call
Yeah.
yourself.
You hear that? You hear that,
Gen
guys?
Z pass.
I got the pass, dude.
You got the pass.
I can say a lot of fucking phrases now that I couldn't before. So
Watch out. All right.
There you
all right, thanks, guys.
Yeah.